Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And one of my favourite comedians is a man who's been touring the country for as long as I can remember. He's one of the best compares in the business. He's a star of TV, the Edinburgh Fringe, and he's back on tour in 2017, 2018, going everywhere from Luton, Melton, Swindon, Hemel Hempstead, Selby, Otley. And I'm delighted to say that Stephen K Amos is on the phone now. How are you?
I am most agreeable, Alex. How are you doing?
Do you know what? I'm not bad, but I'm not as good as you. I mean, you've had such a successful career, but the problem with your career is you've got to come to us. That must get on your nerves.
Do you know what? The joy is, I suppose, when you go to a place you've not been to before and you get to explore the country that you were born in and you live in. Because, you know, when I was a kid, we didn't go on family holidays. There was nothing like that. You know, the extent of my mum trying to broaden our horizons with us all sitting in the lounge, her opening the curtains and going, look out there. That's enough, kid.
It's an amazing time to be a comedian. I mean, on the one hand, you've got the Ricky Gervais, who seems to be touring the world, able to say what he likes on Twitter. And then there are people in the clubs like you who also get to have your own opinion. And it seems to me now you've got to be careful. Do you ever fear that somebody's going to say to you, you can't say that?
I would hope not. I would like to think that any subject in the right comedian's hands will be handled expertly and executed brilliantly, because it is a comedy show. It's not about offending people. You might be trying to make a point, but you know there are people out there who listen, they just hear a buzzword and they don't hear the context of a joke or a setup, and then they get offended. We do have those people, but I do think also, having said that that's an audience's right. You know, when you're sitting in a theatre, if a comedian says something that you agree with or disagree with, I think you're within your rights to kind of vocalise it somehow.
I think better than being a comedian, the thing that impresses me the most about you is your confidence and ease on stage. I've seen you many times with great comedians in big venues, and you never look flustered. How long did it take you to be that comfortable on stage?
Well, I think it's a very strange job anyway, you know, standing up in front of a room full of strangers, trying to make them laugh and see your point of view. So I think what you need to do first and foremost is find your own voice. And, you know, I think it took me probably 6 or 7 years to find my own voice, my own identity, you know, and also get into your head that if an audience come and pay money to go to a theatre or even a comedy club, you know, they don't want to see somebody awful or not very confident and at worst not even funny. So if you accept that, you know, they're going to meet you halfway, then it's up to you to do the rest.
I noticed that you've got sort of two careers, one as the compere and one as the sort of star comedian. Is it easier comparing than being the star turn? Because I guess people are judging less even though you're on stage more.
When I did first start, I just thought, I better compare. Let me just compare. I feel comfortable comparing. You don't have to be funny. And 9 times out of 10, when you start throwing in material and stuff, people come up to you after the gig and go, oh, you're not bad, you should consider being a comedian. So that's the only kind of irksome side of it. But, you know, I remember doing a gig many, many years ago with Harry Hill, and he was the headline, and I was the MC comparing the show. And then after the show, he said to me, why do you compare? And I said, oh, I kind of like it. He went, go for the glory.
Right.
So that stuck into my head because, you know, people either remember the compare who've been great or terrible, and the last guy, really.
Yeah, it's such a dangerous world. I could never do it. The fearlessness you have to walk out on any stage, especially for comedy, because it's not even like you're walking on to Fly Me to the Moon or something. You've got to get straight into it. Is it the opening few minutes that count?
Absolutely. The audience can smell fear, nervousness. I mean, sometimes I've gone up at a venue, and because the lights are so hot, I've immediately started sweating. Now, from an audience point of view, that could look like a guy who's immediately nervous. So if that ever happens, I address it. I address the elephant in the room and disarm everybody.
Okay.
Or indeed, if I'm going to a place I've not been to before, I might check up on some of the local stories or the big news of the area and use that as an opening gambit. Because they'll go, oh, he's thought about this. He's done a bit of research. Oh, we like him. Or just hit him off bat with a great gag. And once you've got them in the first minute, then you're on your way.
And are the two prerequisites that, one, they can hear you, and two, they're not too drunk to the point where they can't understand you? They want to be merry, but they can't be too drunk, can they?
Oh, there's nothing worse than a completely drunk audience. I'm sure we've all been there, all me and my colleagues. Particularly when you do late night gigs. I've been doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival for many, many years now, and in fact it's its 70th anniversary year this year. And I've been out there so long, it feels like it's my second home. And you know what? In the current climate, if I do lose my EU passport in a year, that is what I'll be arguing. But yeah, if they're too drunk and then they don't listen, they don't have the attention span, that's a difficulty. So you can't do long set-up jokes. But, we all train for that. We work for it. We experience it, particularly doing the clubs in the early days.
I've been trying to think of what I loved you in the most and what entertained me the most, and I've come to the conclusion, 2 words, penis envy was my favourite thing you've done. I don't know whether you've read the articles on the internet, but I have a thing called Micro Penis, Stephen. It's very depressing. Yes, this was an extraordinary documentary, wasn't it, which made us all feel worse about ourselves.
One thing I don't do, I'll be honest, I don't go online and read up on what people have said. Once you've done the project, you're asking for it. I don't Google myself. I know some of my friends who do. I don't go look for reviews. I don't do any of that thing. For me, it's all about being in the moment. But the joy, I suppose, one of the benefits, I guess, of being a stand-up is that you get asked to do various other genres. So doing these documentaries, one of which, it was a series of envy, something envy, and this one was penis envy. And I do recall making that program, making a slight mistake between centimetres and inches. And I got quite a bit of flack for that, I can tell you.
I do that deliberately on my online profiles. You wouldn't believe the offers I get. What's interesting as well about your career is the international success, and so few have that. I guess you've done the Montreal comedy festivals and things like that. Obviously down under in Australia, they absolutely love you, don't they?
Yes, I've been very fortunate. Again, this job has taken me around the world. And if anyone told my 9-year-old self, who was being a silly kid in the household who had to get a laugh just to get some attention because there's so many of us in the house, that I could use those same skills and get to tour all across America, Canada, Australasia, Europe, the whole of the UK, I would go, no, don't be silly. But thankfully, people seem to like what I've got to say, and the moment they stop liking what I've got to say, or indeed I feel I've got nothing to say, then I'll bow out.
I guess it's a great time for comedy. I mean, there is so much going on in the world. Trump is a whole new sort of litany of gags that writes itself. Is it a fun time to be a comedian?
See, this is where the line is, you see. Everyone knows about Trump. Everyone knows about Brexit. And the thing about Trump is that, and Brexit, in fact, is that it divided the nations, so there's 50-50.
Yeah.
Also with Trump, it does write itself. So what are you going to do about that? Are you going to repeat his tweets? Because that's what you're writing a joke.
Right.
Are you going to talk about his hair? Everyone talks about his hair. Unless you've got something clever and left field about it, I would suggest you leave it alone. I'll give an example. A few years ago now, I was asked to be the comedian at the FA Football of the Year Awards. And people kept saying to me, are you going to do some footballer jokes? I was like, no. The one thing they probably hear the whole time is football jokes. So for me to go out there and give them what they probably heard before, or a variation thereof, is pointless. So I just went there and did me. I just did my own jokes. Did my, and that's where I think the difference is. I do have a routine that mentions Mr. Trump, but the joke is you won't see the joke coming. It's got nothing about him.
You sort of have a conversation with the audience more than do sort of punchline gags. I wonder whether you've ever been caught up in one of those scandals of you stole my gag. An original thought is only original if somebody else hasn't thought it, and we don't necessarily know that when we think it. It's a tough thing to be a comedian, isn't it? Because you can be accused of nicking when you haven't even done it.
Well, I think the good thing about the UK comedy circuit, particularly those of us who've been going for a long time, everyone sort of knows everybody else's kind of style. We've all kind of worked together. It's fairly easy from our point of view to be able to go, that's not your routine. Or somebody who started not relatively short time and they've suddenly gone stratospheric. We kind of go, where's all that coming from? But there is that thought, but you can. That's why I steer clear of the whole Trump and the Brexit, because there's a chance I will think exactly the same line as somebody else. Right. And I may not know it, But if somebody who's a comedy fan comes to my show and then somebody else's show, and then they see the same subjects being talked about and maybe the same jokes, that can be a bit boring and tiresome. So I think, and also my stuff, the kind of stuff that I talk about, from my point of view anyway, growing up with a big family, from Nigerian heritage, dad working various jobs, my kind of angle is not common.
Interesting as a gay man standing on a stage as a comedian, you address that on stage. You've not hidden behind it. I wonder from your background where that confidence came from, because it can't have been easy for you, especially, I just last night was at the Apollo Theatre watching Jamie, which is a story of a 16-year-old boy coming out as transgender at school. That's okay in 2017, but 20 years ago, that would have been unheard of.
Absolutely, yes. And I'm going to go into that next week because two of my friends are in it.
It's magical. It's a lovely night in the theatre. Really great.
Oh, good. I can't wait. Don't spoil it.
No. I will say no more.
For me, I think when I first started out, it wasn't about. I always admired people like Richard Pryor who could talk about himself, and I was never comfortable to talk about myself until I knew that I was funny on stage and was confident enough. That's why I think it took me about 6-7 years to find my own voice. And there were certain catalysts that happened in my world that prompted me to feel the need to say something. It's all very well, being, the funny man. Look at me, jazz hands. Aren't I funny? Pat me on the back. But if you're not saying anything, I kind of think, what's the point?
Right. And you're great at that. You've always had purpose. I guess that's the thing as well, is having sincerity. You're not wanting to be the guy stood there doing knock-knock jokes just for the effect.
But to be fair, there's nothing wrong with that per se. If you think of some of our biggest comedy stars at the moment, some of them don't say anything. It's just jokes, and there is a place for that clearly, because some people like escapism. If you spent all day at work and you've been bombarded with the news 24/7, the last thing you may want to do is go to a comedy show and have to think, perhaps.
Right, okay.
But for me, when I do the job, if I go to, like last weekend, I was in Guernsey, and my presence alone, I can assure you, probably upped the black population by a few good thousands. And so I had to address things like that, and I was determined to make the whole room laugh. As far as I'm concerned, I may well have been the first non-Jersey resident black visitor that some of them in the audience ever seen, let alone come and laughed with. But the fact that we all bonded together and we all laughed at the same things, that is what I'm striving for.
It's an interesting time in show business. We look at America, and the highest paid star there is Oprah Winfrey, who's a black lady. The biggest star on TV is a lesbian, Ellen DeGeneres. What is it like from your perspective touring the country? Do we care about race? I'm a 37-year-old man who doesn't even think about it. It astounds me when I see these stories of racism and homophobia, that people have such passion and waste their energy caring.
I know, that's right. Sadly, it's there and it's real. If I wrote a show purely based on the things people have said to me, even up until now, as a relatively well-known person, people said most outrageous things because they think it's a joke or they think it's a positive stereotype. And because if we work in this business that we call show, and you live in a huge metropolitan city like Birmingham, Manchester, Liverpool, London, then we're spoilt because we assume things have moved a lot far further than they have. But the moment you start going into the more rural areas or the deep south, southern parts of America, where they haven't got different people or different voices that they can hear, they will harbour their very old, outdated views. And that's why I like to go in full throttle and challenge those views.
I find humanity disappointing sometimes, that people waste so much time and energy on this stuff, which is so irrelevant, isn't it? We're just people living our lives and getting on with it. It's extraordinary that in 2017 we're still even discussing this stuff.
I think it's pretty disturbing that these... in fact, one of the routines I'm kind of exploring at the moment is how many generations would it take for us to forget the lessons of the past?
Right.
And it seems it's not that many, because we seem to see that history is repeating itself. And my whole thing is people, not, I'm being general obviously, People don't seem to have empathy. You don't have to go through hardship and struggles yourself to have the feeling for somebody else who is. That's what I don't understand. The whole trans issue at the moment, which is getting such attention, but not always for the good reasons, is extraordinary. You know, if you spent more of your energy thinking about your fellow man as opposed to hating something you know nothing about and therefore you have an opinion about it, or just throwing your world into sport and that's all that matters, or music, that's all that matters, or reality TV, that's all that matters. It's extraordinary.
It's very strange to me that people are so angry and bitter. And I think that's a new phenomenon, isn't it? We've all got to be so angry via Twitter and tell everybody what we're thinking.
So I think if you can open dialogue and still have an open mind and have somebody present their point of view to you, it may change your mind. But if you have a closed mind and you trawl the internet just for stories and ideas that reinforce your own beliefs, we're not going to get anywhere. I've never, ever got involved in any online arguments or debates with anybody. No. You know, if you like my comedy, great. If you don't like it, go and see somebody else. That is how simple it is. You don't have to go online and tell me either way. And I'm not going to respond to that.
No.
You know, and there are people who love to rile things, people who love to throw the spanner in the works, people who love to be offended and upset by stuff, you know, people who claim their religion is the religion, not even once considering that the passion you have for your religion, surely by definition, somebody else can have passion for their own religion.
If you put positive stuff out, I find you get positive stuff back. That's a rule in life, really, isn't it?
Again, and also my rule in life is I will only ever, like, for example, if a very good friend of mine was given, you know, one of the big talk show jobs in America, Trevor Noah, and then newspapers felt the need to trawl back through all his former tweets.
Oh, really?
So yeah, and then try and pick stuff out. And when you see things like that, it makes you kind of a bit more. It changes who you are.
Yeah.
So I don't write anything. I don't retweet praise for myself, or I don't comment on somebody who may have died.
No.
I don't do any of that.
It's like the art of discussion has gone. I'm either the enemy or I'm on your side, and it's not necessarily that clear cut, is it?
Well, of course it's not, but I think that is a byproduct of the modern world we're living in, where everything is immediate. Everything is now. You know, when you've got your mobile phone, everything is on there. Need immediate response. You can delete something if you don't want it. You can find out information if you do. You know, so to research and to engage, it's passé. No one's got the time for it anymore. You know, if I go to a hotel and the hotel hasn't got Wi-Fi, I don't. You know, but 10 years ago, I got by.
Yeah, we survived, didn't we? Hey, listen, I've loved talking to you. Thank you so much for your time. I'm such a big fan of yours. What you do is so brilliant and so infectious. As you sit there, your energy is just effortless. And again, I know it's a tough life travelling to all these gigs and doing it year in, year out, and you do it so brilliantly. Stephen K Amos is on tour. You can get more details by going to stephenkamos.com. He will be live through until the 17th of February at Leicester Square Theatre and everywhere in between, from Farnham to Southend to Gloucester to Harrow to Finchley and Hertford and Maidenhead, travelling through February 17th on this current tour, and I'm sure you'll be continuing that through 2018. Thank you so much for your time, Stephen. Lovely to talk to you.